there guys, gals, and non-binary pals, GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I review books and bookish things. I try to upload most Thursdays and alternating Tuesdays. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and let's get into it. So today we are doing a book review, one that I've been teasing a while because it's so good. I need more people to read it so I can talk to them about it because it's so good. It is the book Iron Widow by Xian Jie Chao, I think is how you pronounce it. I may be wrong. I'll have her name spelled on the screen. I do apologize if I pronounced it wrong. But this book came out in 2021, and I saw a TikTok of it earlier this year, of the author actually talking about her book. She was answering questions that people had, and I was like, yes, I need this. So if I can figure out how to upload the TikTok, I will put that here. But if not, essentially she was talking about how someone asked her why there aren't any white people in the book, and she said, "Well, I just didn't think they were important to the plot." And I was like, "Fair answer. I like that. I do." That made me chuckle as a chicken nugget myself. That's like, yeah, I've heard so many times, well, why aren't there people of color in the plot? Well, they weren't important to the story. Why aren't there more women in the story? Well, they weren't important to the story. And to have that answer flipped on its head just made me chuckle, and I was like, okay, you have my attention. And then she mentioned that there's a love triangle, and instead of resolving where the girl picks boy A or boy B, they resolve it with polyamory, and I'm like, sold! Doing this. We're reading this, so I found it. I've since watched several more of the author's TikToks. She's hilarious and amazing. If I can figure out how, I will link her down below as well, because she is amazing. But, so the background of the book, right? Set in the future of Huaxia is under attack. Giant mechanized aliens are raining terror down on them, but mankind has found a way to harvest their corpses, which is just metal AF. So cool. To turn them into giant mech suits, and like they have these twin pilots, a male and a female for Yan and Ying and Yan, the two halves, like the male and the feminine, masculine and the feminine, and essentially that their brains are set up with these neurolinks to control them, and like use the corpses of these aliens as giant mech suits called chrysalises, and like it gets into all the politics of that, and like it's really interesting, and that's just the setup. Alright, and then we have our heroine, Wu Zetian, is out to avenge her sister, who was one of these female, essentially concubines to the male pilot. Like the male pilot gets all the glory and all, it's just cool, and like the female pilot isn't actually a pilot, she's just disposable because her brain blah blah blah, instead of matching them properly, he's always gonna have more power than she does, so essentially he burns through her chi and kills her, and like it's kind of messed up. It's kind of really messed up. And she's out for revenge, and so she decides to give herself a makeover and all this stuff to make herself desirable, so that she gets picked by the pilot that is responsible for the death of her sister. And when they're in their mind battle, she's supposed to like coddle him and protect him and blah blah blah, and like be nurturing and feminine and all that. She murders his brain, and like when they cut to her like in the battle, she's like, yeah, I did it. What? And it's like, oh my god, I love this character. Like, this is awesome. The book did get some criticism for people like, oh, well, she's not being feminine. Like, yeah, that's kind of the point, is that masculinity and femininity aren't just one thing. like, kind of the point of the book, with them being yin and yang, is that in light you have the dark, and in dark you have the light. Like, in masculine you have feminine, and feminine you have masculine. Like, nobody is just one thing. Like, that felt like one of the metaphors or allegories of the book. Like, it's kind of a plot point, is this, and like, anyway, and I don't want to spoil it, but it is so cool, and the twist at the end is just amazing, because I did not see that coming at all. Like, not at all, not even a little bit, and I was just like, it's, okay, so in the sci-fi realm, it's a twist that's been done, right? How do I say that? Discuss the trope without spoiling it. They did it on The Outer Limits, and they did it on The Twilight Zone. That's all I'm gonna say. It's one of the tropes that those two shows share. Anyway, so good. Please tell me you've read this book. But it's also a retelling of medieval China. It's a fictionalized retelling in a futuristic world of Wu Zetian, who was the first and only female emperor in Chinese history. And I didn't know that. It got me looking at her dynasty and like all of this, and like how it's really interesting, and like made me interested in the history, and it's really cool. So this book, though, I need someone to have read it so I can talk to them about it. So I want everybody to read it because it is so good. I tried recommending it to my sister-in-law, and she was like, "You lost me at mech suits." And I'm like, "No, but it's so cool." And she's like, "You lost me at mech suits." And I'm like, "Damn it." Okay. I understand, but you're wrong. And hopefully my brother reads it, because he was standing next to me while I was trying to get her to read it. And yeah, it's so good. I listened to it on Audible. Not sponsored. I wish I was. But I listened to it on Audible, and I highly recommend listening to it as an audiobook, because the names are in Chinese, and that way you have the proper pronunciation. I'm still probably butchering them because I do not have perfect pitch, and I cannot hear some of the tones, and Chinese is a tonal language, so again, I do apologize. I'm trying my best. But such an amazing book, such an amazing story. She writes other things. There's the sequel, Heavenly Tyrant, which is about her reign. This is just her coming to power. The sequel about her reign was supposed to come out this spring, but it got pushed back to April of 2024. So I will definitely be getting that as soon as it comes out and listening to it. Again, I'll do the audiobook so I can get better pronunciation for the names and places and things. But yeah, so excited for it. Have you read it? Have you listened to it? Do you follow this author on TikTok? Isn't she absolutely hilarious? Please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!